Well, today's episode is going to be a bit different. Now, as you know, I did not review NXT due to some circumstances that were beyond my control. But however, there was something I did not know, and my dumbass should have known. As you probably can guess, we had New Japan with the road to the G1 Climax because we're getting closer to that. This one, of course, features, of course, the two play-in matches to those open spots in both the A block and the B block. But the real question is who's going to be joining in. Well, that's something we're going to find out. And even there's going to be a number one contendership for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's something, as you know, four competitors are aiming for so we'll see how that rolls. But as for NXT, as you know, the chaos continues. Battle lines are being drawn for the upcoming Great American Bash this coming weekend, and I can't wait to see it. Also, we got WWE Evolve with Succession 3. Both the men's and the women's championships will be on the line. Wendy Chu defends it against Nikita Lyons. Aaron Rourke defends it against Max Abram. So we'll see how things roll up from there. And then finally, of course, AEW Dynamite. As you know, this coming weekend is Forbidden Door. It's going to be bombastic. A lot of things are going to take place. I can't wait to see how this turns out. But our main event is the AEW International Championship. Ricochet, aka Bald, that goes up against Takeshita. So we'll see how things roll up from there. And then, of course, like always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. School is in session. So, let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to the G1 Climax. Alright, New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to G1 Climax. Now, this is their much recent show that happened on June 23 at Corkin Hall. This is day 3. Now, the other 2 days, of course, was not televised in case it was mostly a house show or something like that. Now, for those who are not familiarized with the G1 I'm going to give you guys a description, and then once the G1 begins, I'll do it again. The G1 Climax is an annual round-robin tournament. It goes up maybe up to a month or so. Now, the idea of this is to gain points in order to proceed. So basically, if you win, you get 2 points. If you lose, you get 0. But however, in the situation of a time limit draw, double count out, or double pinfall, well, or the, of course, however scenario goes, the competitors each get 1 point. However, of course, the points are calculated. Now, as we get closer to the end, it gets very, very tricky. Now, in this particular day, of course, they had 2 play-in matches, of course, to the open spots in the A block and the B block. So we have a match regarding about that. So we'll get to that. Now, we opened up, of course, with 6-man tag team action. We have Taisi Nakahara. He teams up with Togi Makabe and Toru Yano. They take on Masatori Yasuda, El Desperado, and Yuya Uemura. Now, of course, it's either way. Both sides have young lions. Obviously, the veteran wrestlers would aim for the young lions due to being the weakest. However, what I did like is how they gave the young lions the opportunity to battle each other, because Yasuda, as you know, is ahead of Nakahara's class. So basically, he has more experience than of course, Nakahara combined. So he put him away with the Boston Crab, and just like that, he tapped out. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, consisting of Zayn J, Jacob Austin Young, the Great Okan, and Jake Lee. They take on Ryusuke Taguchi. He teams up with the guys with the Goto Revolutionary Army, consistent of Tatsuya Matsumoto, who is in fact a young lion, Hiroki Goto, and of course our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Yo. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacob Austin Young would aim for this belt, because he definitely wants to have a shot of it, and that's pretty obviously. But however, this match ended with, of course, the Great Khan applying the Eliminator onto Matsumoto, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. And then, of course, Great Khan, with his sadistic laugh, trying to prove his dominance, continue to dismantle Matsumoto. So that kind of thing goes on. So we'll see how things go with the United Empire from here. Our next match, we have TMDK, consisting of Hartley Jackson and Rohei Oiwa. They take on Satoshi Kojima and, of course, our current IWGP Global Champion, Shota Umino. And the match was pretty good, not gonna lie. It was very impressive. I liked it. In the end, it was in fact Shota Umino that picked up the win when he applied the second chapter on Jackson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. So hold on a minute. Okay, next up we have the House of Losers, of course. Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Doiki, which I know he's probably bitter and sad for losing his belt. Cry me a river, Doiki! And Ren Narita, probably still bitter about losing the Never Openweight title. And Yujiro Takahashi. They take on the Unbound Company, consisting of Daiki Nagai, Shingo Takagi, Yota Tsuji, and Oscar. Now, I don't know what's the situation on some of it, because Yujiro Takahashi and Oscar were the last ones to be there. I wouldn't be surprised if these two are competing in the play-in matches for the G1, so we'll see how that goes. But of course, when it comes to the House of Losers, we know their usual tactics. They try to use weapons, distract referees, or somebody decides to help them out. That's always been their MO. However, in this case, Doiki had, of course, Daiki Nagai in the Nightmare Choke. However, effing Kanemaru decided to distract the referee, giving a chance, of course, for Yujiro to ensure that Daiki Nagai will not be caught that he had his foot on the rope. So they cheated their way through, and once again, Doiki picked up the win by applying the Nightmare Choke onto Nagai, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match is a #1 contendership for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Now, keep in mind, in Dominion, as you know, we have crowned a brand new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, and that is Yo. And 4 competitors, as you know, are aiming for this title. This is something that, of course, first we have Francisco Akira. Now, we have seen him compete in the Junior Heavyweight division. However, he hasn't won this title yet. He has won the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts with various partners, but not this one. And then, of course, we have Sho. Well, Sho, as you know, demanded a shot of this belt, but Yo was not going to do that, so he wants it back. And then, of course, we have Master Wato, who hasn't won this belt either. And then, of course, we have Kosa Fujita. So basically, you can tell that these guys are hungry to do whatever it takes it's necessary to claim this belt. However, of course, knowing Sho, he was going to do something stupid to do so, because, of course, that was going to happen. We did see, of course, Sho was trying to, to get involved in this match one way or the other. And that's something, of course, we've been seeing. But, however, it was Francisco Akira who got away with it by blowing Fujita, and then later Master Wato tried to get involved. But apparently Akira pinned Wato, thanks to, of course, the House of Losers for getting involved. And then, of course, just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But Yo, of course, was emancipated when he tried to get himself involved to stop the House of Torture from ever obtaining this belt. But Francisco Akira, as you know, he is aiming for this belt. He's desiring this belt because, as you know, many of you who know the history, Will Ospreay entrusted him to clean up the mess that was left behind when he left the Junior Heavyweight division when he transitioned to heavyweight. So we'll see how things go from there. Now, our next match is the G1 Climax Block B play-in match. We have Aaron Wolf and Yoshihashi. Now, one of these two guys, as you know, will get a spot in the G1. Aaron Wolf and Yoshihashi, this match was good. I mean, I'm not going to say that Yoshihashi didn't deserve it, but he was incredible. You know, he did step up his plate as a singles competitor. I know people will always associate him as a tag team specialist, but he hasn't picked up like the type of singles competition he deserved. But unfortunately, that didn't do any well because Aaron Wolf put him in a triangle lancer, and just like that, it was over. Now, we do have another G1 Climax Block A play-in. We have Yuto Ice versus Taichi, and this was a pretty darn amazing match. Taichi, as you know, has been trying to get himself in the G1 many times over. There will be times that he's not in it, sometimes he's not, you know. The one time I remember he got in, they kind of not put in Minoru Suzuki, and that kind of sets it up right there. But man, this match was incredible. I mean, these guys put everything on the line, but in the end, it was Yuto Ice that walked away with the win, pinning Taichi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he's in the G1 and the Block A. Now, I'm pretty sure there will be some other matches involving play-in matches for the G1, but we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, we'll end things here and move on with our next review, and I believe that is, of course, NXT. Okay, NXT. Well, as you all know already, this is the go-home show as we head to the Great American Bash. And of course, the chaos continues as always. Now, we opened up, of course, with Mr. Stone talking to Tony D'Angelo. As you all know, no contract signing was made for the NXT Championship at the Great American Bash. And of course, Mr. Stone knows exactly what Tony D'Angelo wants. But however, before anything was proceed, Tony D'Angelo stopped Aaron Rourke, telling him good luck with his match, and he tells him that he loves what he's doing in Evolve as the current champion. And of course, Aaron Rourke appreciated that. He even told him do the same thing too. So basically, they have each other's respect. Now, we opened up with, of course, with the opening match was the Men's Evolve Championship. Aaron Rourke versus Tristan Angels. Now, Tristan Angels, as you know, he's been aiming to this belt to prove that he, in fact, is the guy with the better looks, that represents exactly what the Evolve Championship should be. However, of course, he might have won this clearly, but things didn't go according to plan because he heard, yeah, that's right. We all know who that laugh was, because of course, Tristan Angels thought he got rid of him permanently. But all of a sudden, at some point in the match, something dragged him in the bottom of the ring because he was trying to grab the little thingy where it says that he is Mr. NXT, even though he's not. And that's how he lost. He felt like he saw a ghost or something. And of course, it was Aaron Warp with the merry-go-round onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, in the back, of course, we saw Mr. Stone and Tony D'Angelo try to approach, of course, Naruku to get the contract signed. However, of course, he set up a trap and burned him right in the face. And of course, Naruku basically did that intentionally. Now, it doesn't take a genius. If you guys ever seen Naruku, those who remember him as evil, he would do whatever it takes to jump the line regardless. And that's exactly what he was trying to do. Now, we did see a bit of face-to-face between Saquon Sugars and, of course, Dion Lennox. Now, as you know, Saquon was, in fact, kicked out of Dark State and all that. So, basically, Dion Lennox had some things to say of calling him this and that, you know. So, we will see those two face off each other at the Great American Bash. Now, we did see Hank and Tank hanging around with Matthews, of course, they will be facing off against the Birthright. So basically, they're ready for that. Now, Miles Bourne did a little bit of a video vignette or something talking about, of course, Tavion Heights, as you probably can guess, who will be facing him for the NXT North American title. And we just saw the same thing with Tavion Heights. However, once those videos were over, we did see Tavion Heights talking to Ren Sinclair. You know, as you guys remember, those two were part of what used to be, of course, the No Quarter Catch crew, of course, and that led to it. And then, of course, Kendra Gray showed up saying hi to Ren, as you know, because she is prepared for her upcoming match at the Great American Bash. Now, our next match is the tag team match, Birthright, consisting of Channing Stack Lorenzos and Mariah Connors taking on Hank and Tank along with Matt Matthews. And, of course, we know there's a numbers game in this matter. Now, of course, we did see Ariana Grace, Lexis King, and Charlie Dempsey as the outside help. That would have been the reality factor that plays out. But, however, of course, they try to eliminate Matt Matthews, but he ducked. Dempsey knocked him down, and then later he accidentally landed on, of course, Lexis King gonads on his head. And that led to Hank and Tank to do their honk honk onto, of course, onto Stacks, I think. Yeah, Stacks. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom. It's over. Just like that. Now, we did see an interview with Sarah talking to Charlotte Hill. Apparently, he is not done by a long shot with Tristan Angels after what he did to him at the NXT pageant. So basically, he has more things to do. And I don't know what sinister things he's planning to do, but if I was Tristan Angels, I would hate to see this guy unleash what sinister plots he would do for him, because he may think his face is perfect. Well, we'll see what happens for that. Now, we did see the NXT Women's Title Championship contract signing between the champion Lola Vice and the challenger Kendall Gray, and of course they had some things to say and all that. You know, Lola Vice see a lot of fire in her, but she feels that she still has a long way to go to get there. But we'll see what happens as we head to the Great American Bash this Saturday. Now, our next match, we have Kiana Carver versus EK Prosper. Now, as you know, Kiana Carver has been, of course, not happy with things been going on with them. EK Prosper, as you know, well, let's just say he had enough of Kiana Carver acting like he thinks he's some sort of big shot. And that's where it led. Now, many of us would have assumed from the very beginning, since Kiana Carver has been causing all kinds of carnage all over NXT, you would have assumed that it would have been easy for him to take out EK Prosper. But he actually pinned him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom. EK Prosper won the match out of nowhere. But however, Kiana Carver took this kind of personally, so he attacked him and then he powerbombed him through the commentary table. So basically, it just shows what a sore loser he has become. Now, we did see a bit of a vignette with Zaria, as you know, our current NXT Women's North American Champion. So she made the decision to give her a rematch at Great American Bash. So that's going to happen sooner or later. Now, of course, Mr. Stone wanted to know what the hell was Naruko thinking, basically, why would he do something like this? Now, of course, Naruko just wants to be the champion by removing the obstacle in his way. And of course, Kiana Carver wants to be in the match for that title, but apparently Mr. Stone asked him, what the hell was your problem? Why did you didn't need to do that to EK Prosper? But of course, Kiana Carver wants to be at the top of the game no matter what. Now, as you know, we have the finals of the women's speed tournament. Now, this will determine who will be facing Ren Sinclair for this belt. We have Izzy Dame of the Culling, and of course Ariana Grace. Now, many people would have assumed Izzy Dame would have been the logical choice, but however, due to the recent developments going on with the Culling, well, once again, Spears kind of caused a bit of a problem and allowed for Ariana Grace to apply the inside cradle onto Dame, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, Carmen Petrovic and Nikita Lyons, as you know, they've been watching what's been going on, of course, with their friend Natty, of course, and they were talking about certain things, and not to mention they did run into Jada Parker, of course, knowing what happened because she lost to Natty, and then Nikita Lyons did make reference about Los Perros del Mar. And of course, OTM, many of you may remember, OTM had Jada Parker as part of the group, and she feels like down after losing to Natty. And then, of course, we did see Lucian Price asked, of course, Bronco Lima, what was this all about you in Mexico? So I told him, look, it's all good, okay? That's only going to happen when I'm over there. You and I, still solid. So he's saying, you and I are still good. I'm still going to be tagging with you. But when it comes to those guys, that's in Mexico. Now, we did see a tag team match, the Culling, Nico Vance and Sean Spears taking on Dorian Van Dux and Shawn Legacy. Now, this was a match that it was, of course, brought upon by both Legacy and Dux last week. And it seems things would have gone well, but however, things have not been looking well for the Culling for the past couple of weeks or months, as you know. But however, it was a very fantastic team up between both Dux and Legacy. I mean, they could be the next tag team champions in NXT if we get the chance to see that. But however, Spears messed up. He ended up being taken out by Legacy with the with the 450, and then of course Dux with the shooting star press, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then of course Nico Vance and Izzy Dame had enough of Spears, so well, as you know, we did see a table already been destroyed in the commentary booth. Well, once again, Spears got put through the table. Now, some people have been asking, is this the end of the Culling? I mean, it seems like it. I mean, first it was Brooks Jensen, and now Spears. So I don't know what the deal is going on in that, but yes. Now, Mr. Stone, as you know, was trying to address the fans of this situation after what happened to Tony D'Angelo. However, Naruko decided, give me the belt, make me the champion. But however, Mason Rook is like, nah, it's not working like that, buddy. You did not earn that title because you didn't fight for it. So basically, Mason Rook decided that he was going to step up, saying, I'll fight you for it. And then, of course, Jackson Drake, who decided, I need to take that shot, but he pissed off Mason Rook. And then, of course, Tony D'Angelo showed up out of nowhere, bandaged up, and took on Naruko. And it seems like it's still the match is going to go on, which is the last thing Naruko wanted, because we all know Naruko will do whatever it takes to take what's his by playing his evil ways. So we'll see what happens at the Great American Bash. So we're officially done with NXT. Let's move on with WWE Evolve. Okay, WWE Evolve Succession 3. Now, we did open up, of course, seeing our champions and challengers for upcoming title matches. Aaron Rourke, our current Evolve champion, along with his challenger, of course, Max Abram, along with the Mog Squad. Then we saw Nikita Lyons, and then, of course, Wendy Chu the Evolve Women's Champion. So that plays out. However, we started up with the Evolve Women's Championship. Nikita Lyons versus, of course, Wendy Choo. Now, of course, Nikita Lyons has been aiming for this belt for a long time, ever since she first arrived into Evolve. But however, she's been unsuccessful to do so. Now, things would have gone differently because we saw that Wendy Choo was truly a fighting champion. But however, things got a little chaotic when, of course, Sloane Jacobs showed up out of nowhere, and Laney Luck tried to intervene to stop this before it got worse. However, of course, Nikita Lyons tried to use the belt onto her, but it failed. But she pulled something out of her top dress out of nowhere and whacked her down, and just like that, she took her out with the roundhouse kick, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, brand new Women's Evolve champions. So that's how things played out right there. Now, we did see an interview with Kevin on stage, of course, as you know. And, of course, it's Gall decided to get involved in this. Basically, he's trying to weasel his way to get on the good graces of Kevin and Sage, who will be taking over Evolve next week. For the whole week, of course. Now, our next match, we have Kai Kavari taking on Kale Dixon, who we haven't seen quite some time since Oriah Connors, of course, turn on Chase University, and Andre Chase was released from WWE. And it seems things were going good until this unknown blonde woman showed up out of the blue. We don't know what happened. It caused a distraction to Kavari, but allowed for Kale Dixon to take him out with a forearm shot, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have, of course, our main event, the Men's Evolve Championship. Max Abram, who's been aiming this belt since forming the Mog Squad, taking on Aaron Rourke. And of course, we definitely knew this was going to get out of control because Max Abram took out the referee intentionally in hopes to get the Mog Squad to help. And then, of course, we did see Harlan Lewis get involved, and then Braxton Cole, who still has his fair issues, evolved with him, of course. And then we have Cappuccino Jones, Sam Holloway, and Marcus Mathers to get involved in this, of course. And then things got out of chaotic hand until, of course, Aaron Rourke applied the melee go-round onto Max Abram, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, we did see they were about to brawl between Mathers and Jones against the Mog Squad. And then the two security guys showed up, and then they wipe out everybody in the ring. As you know, they've been working as security guards to get on the good graces, but it seems now that they want to make their statement loud and clear. So we'll see how things go from them on. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but we'll see. But right now, we are done with Evolve. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite, their go-home show for this Sunday, of course, Forbidden Door. Now, we opened up with the Death Riders doing Moxley giving a bit of a pep talk. As you know, Moxley, along with Yuta and, of course, Claudio, are in a trios match against Bandito and Brody King. But however, Will Ospreay and Daniel Garcia have individual match. As you know, Will Ospreay will be facing Swerve Strickland in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament, and of course Garcia will be dealing with Swerve Strickland, that sort of thing. However, we jump into that match sooner, of course, where we have the Death Riders taking on Brody King and Bandito teaming up with Mystico, and I thought the match was pretty good in every moment. But however, of course, FN Marina Shafir showed up, caused a distraction, allowing for Claudio to use the Continental Championship on Brody King, and then Moxley picked up the win on Brody, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Just like that, basically, they used their usual tactics, acting like they won a big fight. No, they just got away with it, with pretending they think they're still heroes or something. Now, we did see Renee Paquette talking to Conglomeration, mostly with Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Darby Allin, and of course Takeshita. As you know, they know that there's an importance here. They have to win the steel cage in hopes for Mark Briscoe They have a shot of getting the AEW World title, so that sort of thing. Now, we jump into one of the matches for the survival of the fittest qualifier, as you know, for the TBS Championship. We have Marina Shafir taking on Harley Cameron. Now, it's not the first time these ladies have met. As you all know, Marina had challenged Harley Cameron when she was teaming with Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's Tag Team belts. That would have been that was a different storyline. But now this is a chance for a shot of the TBS title, and that's something, of course, was met. Now, of course, Marina Shafir, as you know, would have won this match due to her ways, but however, it was Harley Cameron that played the smart one, where she used, of course, Marina Shafir's move against her when she tried to apply a choke. But once you move your body and maneuver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, Marina Shafir was like, cannot believe that she lost to someone, and just like that, it was in. So that makes her the fourth person to enter, along with Persephone, Hikaru Shida, and Chris Statlander. So that means 2 more spots are still open, but we do have another match involving that. Now, our next match is Will Ospreay taking on El Fantasmo. Now, it's no secret these two guys know each other too well. For those who may not know the history, it was Will Ospreay that tried to get El Fantasmo to join Chaos, but he ended up with the Bullet Club at the time. And now they get to see each other. These guys are amazing high flyers. But however, it was Will Ospreay that picked up the win when he applied the Hidden Blade onto him. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, Swerve Strickland showed up, making his way because he faces Daniel Garcia. And of course, Swerve Strickland tried to bring a whole lot of pain onto Daniel Garcia, and then he applied the Hidden Blade onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. And then, of course, Swerve Strickland decided to take out Garcia one way or the other, but Will Ospreay was not going to let that happen. And then he applied that little move onto his back of his neck in hopes to paralyze them. But of course, Will Ospreay showed up with the chair, not letting this madness continues. Now, MJF along with Don Callis, as you know, they are happy with the result. As you know, MJF will be teaming with Okada, Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Andrade El Idolo and Kevin Knight to take on the conglomeration. However, they did notice that Rocky and Trent, well, they're not part of the team, so they tell them, just get out of here, guys. You're not supposed to be part of this. And of course, MJF showed a shirt called Team MJF, something like that. I don't know, which is kind of weird, but that's how things roll from there. Now, we did see Jungle Jack Perry taking a crack out of Zack Sabre Jr. As you all know, Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door will take on Kenny Omega. So basically, he wants to test himself out against a submission specialist. And of course, Jack Perry learned the hard way. When it comes to someone like Zack Sabre Jr., there's no escape. He put him in the pretzel type of maneuver on him, and just like that, he just gave out by saying, I'm done. However, his buddies, the Young Bucks, had to deal with the other members of TMDK, more specifically Mikey Nichols and Bad Dude Tito. And I thought the match was pretty well. It did pretty well, but it was the Bucks who walk away with the win when they applied the Meltzer driver onto, onto Nichols. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post-match, they were attacked from behind by both Bad Dude Tito and Zack Sabre Jr. And then, of course, Jack Perry and Kenny Omega showed up, and of course things got a little crazy. However, we did see Kenny was attempting to apply the V-trigger onto Zack, but it was Bad Dude Tito who pulled him away. So that's how things end there. And of course, Kenny Omega can't wait to get his hands on him this coming Sunday. Now, our next match is another match of the Survival of the Fittest qualifier. We have Red Velvet versus Queen Aminata. The match was pretty great. I mean, damn, they went hard. But in the end, it was Queen Aminata who walked away with the win with the off of the head. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she is now the 5th person. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next person will be in Collision. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, we did see an interview with the Young Bucks. As you know, Renee Paquette asked about what's their next move, because they will be facing the Unbound, of course, this coming Sunday. And then, of course, once that's done, their ultimate goal is now aim for the AEW World Tag Team belts. However, They did see, of course, the dogs being manhandled by both Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. And later, you guys are good? Yeah, we're good. So they kind of continue on with the brawl. But of course, it was the dogs that got the upper hand. Now, our main event is the AEW International Championship. As you know, Ricochet has been asking for this match, calling Takeshita that he's a coward, that he is afraid of. No, he's not. As you know, he has his priorities towards Fletcher. That's his thing. But of course, he wanted it. However, thank God, of course, that Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I'm referring to Teo Leona and Bishop Khan, were not involved. But it was Takeshita who took him out completely with the Raging Fire. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now the event show ended with Mark Briscoe doing, of course, a bit of a promo, as you know, who is aiming for the AEW World title and that sort of thing. And that's pretty much what's going on until MJF showed up from behind, thanks to Don Idiot, of course, trying to distract him. And then everybody who's involved in the steel cage showed up. But however, it was Mark Briscoe who, with the last laugh, when he took out MJF with his brother's moves, the J Driller, and just like that, he just took him out completely. But the real question is, can he capitalize that at the Forbidden Door? Well, we'll just have to wait and see when that happens. So as of right now, we're officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events, starting with GCW. Now, we do have a bit of a big update on that, and many of you probably wondering why. Well, it's because since I didn't do the last episode, that's why. But anyway, I'm getting it done. Now, let's start with GCW. Now, as you know, they have the Coney Island show at 4th of July, of course, called the Bash in the Ballpark. They just announced Megan Bayne will be facing Viperous. That's going to be a good match. We have the Hartford, Connecticut event on the 11th of July. You Only Die Once. We have Anakin Murphy versus Christian Napier, a member of the Vandal 48. Then we have the debut show at Manchester, New Hampshire, Melee in Manchester. It was already been told now that the GCW tag team belts will be defended. Busta and the Blaine defends it against a guys called Starstruck. Now, I don't know who these guys are, but if anybody from that area in Manchester, New Hampshire knows who they are, please leave a comment down below. Now, we do have the Dallas show on the 18th of July, Life of a Boss. It was announced that Cowboy Way, consisting of one called Manders and Thomas Shire, will be facing Bear Bronson and Gabby Forza. Then we have the Homecoming show. As you know, there's the 2-day show in Atlantic City. This is, of course, night 1 on the 15th of August. They announced Marco Stunt will take on the bad boy, Joey Janela. And they did announce that GCW will return to Anchorage, Alaska on October 3rd. Now, they did announce a French wrestler, of course, will be making his appearance in many of the shows that have been announced. His name is Leeds Lewis. His name was mentioned once before during an upcoming events that I've been posting out. He will be involved in the Coney Island event on July 4th for Bash in the Ballpark. Then we have the Hartford, Connecticut, You Only Die Once, the Manchester on the 12th of July, Dallas, and of course the Tulsa, Oklahoma on the 19th. So basically he's booked for much of July. So that's pretty much for our upcoming events with the GCW. Now, we still got more, of course, to come. As you know, on the 27th, this Saturday, we have the RevPro, the British J-Cup taking place. The AEW International Championship will be on the line. Our current champion, Mark Davis, will be taking on a man like the Reese. Then we have the show Enjoy Wrestling. Their show will happen on the 11th of July called Best for Business. Danny Moe will be taking on Azuki, of course. Then we have the collaboration between Spark Joshi Puroresu of America and Pro Wrestling Magic. They announced Ronnie Agami versus Tiffany Avatar versus Brittany Blake. Then we have, of course, ETU Wrestling with Summer Madness. They announced Charity King, Lily Besikita, and Zeta Steel will be involved. Yeah, Zeta Steel, the same as we know from back when she was Evolve, and now with AEW/Ring of Honor. Then we have, of course, the collaboration between West Coast Pro and PrideStyle on the 25th of July. Rooted, Starboy will be facing off Nick Zander. Then we have JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, for In Our House on the 26th at the Mecca, of course. The JCW World Title on the line will be on the line. Charles Mason, the root of all evil, will defend it against Bear Bronson. As you know, Shinjuku Face will be closing its doors soon. Sareee-ISM has announced they'll be doing their last 2 shows of this event, calling them the Final Face. The first one will take place on August 24th, called Chapter 11, and then they have another one a following month in September called Chapter 12, that will take place, of course, on the 26th of September. And then we have Pandemonium collaborating, doing the end of summer on the 5th of September. The Pandemonium Pro Championship will be on the line. Amari defends it against Dustin Nguyen. Then we have, of course, the West Coast, the WXW, with, as you know, this is a German promotion, with the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix that goes between the 25th through the 27th of September. And they just announced Big Hash, Shihiro Hashimoto from Sendai Girls, will be returning. She'll be involved in another show before this one, of course. As you know, we had the collaboration with Pandemonium Pro Wrestling and Canadian promotion DUSK Pro. They just announced their upcoming event called See You in Vancouver. They'll take place on the 5th of December. They just announced Chi-Chi will be making her first official debut here in Canada, of course, in Vancouver. So this is the first time they'll be participating in this event. Now, on to some developments. We want to give congratulations to Zack Clayton. If you guys remember who he is, he actually wanted to wrestle for WWE. He ended up doing some shows with AEW during the COVID era, and many of you know this, that he was dating and engaged to Jwoww from the Jersey Shore. Well, it's now officially, they just got married, so congratulations, guys. Now, as you all know, recently Bully Ray has called out allegations towards Jon Moxley and all that. Well, apparently Josh Barnett is in fact defending him. So basically he tells him that I'll beat the crap out of you. So Josh Barnett did not take kindly to what Bully Ray said about Jon Moxley. Now, I don't know if Bully Ray have any response to that. Now, I don't know either if Jon Moxley responded to Bully Ray's negativity towards him. So I don't know any about that, but we'll see. Now, as you know, recently we have been seeing wrestlers who are in league with WWE are being pulled out of certain matches that involve AEW talent. Amongst them is Starboy Charlie. Starboy Charlie was supposed to be involved in an event with Big Time Wrestling, and his opponent was Aaron Solo. Now, as you all know, people think that this is something that's been common. Yes. But later, Big Time announced that they replaced him with Matt Sydal, which was a good choice. And they thanked Tony Khan for helping them out, trying to find replacements. People can rely on Tony for doing things like this. Now, a very interesting interview came in with Paul Haymen. Now, many of you know Paul Haymen as like the advocate for the Vision, Brock Lesnar, and all that. Well, he said, and he, of course, he was one of the guys who helped run ECW, and he said that he can see ECW's influence on AEW. Now, I know some people say Paul Heyman is dumb as a moron. Look, guys, this is what he said. He brought this on Chris Van Vliet on the Insight. So this is what he said. Look at AEW. And I realized the influence that ECW had on that project. On that product, for example, Moxley is a total ECW Sandman, New Jack style performer. But if you look at AEW style, it's Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn from 1999. AEW RVD, if you were a fan of what RVD and Jerry Lynn were doing back in 1999, a lot of AEW presents today's derived and influenced by RVD and Jerry Lynn, they were doing back then. So basically he's saying I see AEW in the same that were influenced by ECW. Yeah, we've seen wrestlers who were influenced by ECW. Now, I don't know what the WWE fan base would think of that, but if I was Paul Heyman, I have to say there are some trademarks involved in that. Now, Thekla was on the TMZ Inside the Ring. They asked her about, of course, the similarities paths with Mercedes Mone, of course, and this is what she said. No, she's done a couple of stunts over there, a couple of gigs. That's about it. She never did the grind like that. I was over there for 5 years, and I had years where I had 120 matches per year. You know what? Fair enough. When it comes to a workhorse, Mercedes is definitely doing the thing. Honestly, I give her that. Me and her, no, it's not the same thing. Ups and downs, living in a foreign country for 5 years, you yourself find yourself. You get humbled. I am sure she did go through her own stuff, but we're not the same. Yeah, this is the thing I don't like. People like try to compare themselves with that. I mean, Thekla is completely different, and I have to agree with her. Thekla has been living in Japan for 5 years. I mean, she was with the Ice Ribbon, did some independence, that sort of thing, and then she did Stardom, that whole thing. But Mercedes, well, she's different from that. You know, that was the thing. Mercedes didn't have to live in Japan, but she has done some, of course, bookings down there before. I mean, with Stardom, New Japan, that sort of thing. So it would make absolute sense. But yeah. Tommy Dreamer, as you all know, recently he just left TNA, and there was more to it what we've been hearing. This is what he said. Tommy Dreamer, as you know, spoke about Mike Santana on why he did not win the TNA World title back in Slammiversary of last year. As you know, he won the Bound for Glory, and this is what he said. Mike Santana's story. I'm close with Mike and his daughter and his family, and when I talk about the internet, everyone wanted Mike to win Slammiversary, and it's cool. Then who do you face in Bound for Glory? And when Bound for Glory beats Slammiversary audience, you know you made the right decision. It's easy to make everyone happy, but who you also have to make people mad to get to where you want to go. And then when you draw more people, it's like you did your job, right? And no one's gonna give you that credit for it. And I'm thankless job, but I'm thanked by the people and their text messages. So yeah, I mean, people often would have expected that coming from Tommy Dreamer, that he should have booked it that way. But yeah, the Bound for Glory, that's a different story, you know, because we've seen how that goes. So that's pretty much it what we have right now for our updates. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have Ring of Honor and, of course, TNA. So as you know, TNA, this is their go-home show as we head this Sunday for Slammiversary. This is like their version of WrestleMania. So it's going to be interesting how things are going to go as we head. A lot of battle lines have already been drawn, feuds have been beginning, that sort of thing. So I can't wait how things will roll from there. But as of right now, we'll end things here for now and move forward. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!